Record. Welcome to this. It's not the last, but it kind of is. It's the last sunrise Sunday of a very special test or mission that was given to me. And whether you've watched all of them or not, from the very beginning, I was asked to do this by what I'm going to call my guides, or my galactic team. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. And they asked me to commit and devote myself to coming back to the sacred on Sundays. And I've told the story in previous ones. I'm not going to go into it. But the short of it is that I have always felt that sacred Sundays were extremely sacred. And I guess it started with the form of church, although the church ritual in Catholicism was not really my thing. And I found a couple other really great places to land. I have like this hair right in my eye. There we go, the eyelash. Found a couple other places to land and explore as far as expanding my spirituality, my connection with God, universe, spirit. I call it Gus, God, universe, spirit, because it really is a fun play on everything that I believe in, and it's an exit from the word that really triggers a lot of discomfort and distruth in my own soul from what I learned from childhood from religion. I realize now that my upbringing in religion had greatly compromised the knowledge and the intelligence that I was able to gain from my spiritual life. That part of it wasn't taught to me, and what I have gone on to learn as a practitioner in spiritual centers as prayer chaplains. I have dived down very deeply into the spiritual nature of life, of connection, of nature, and the intelligence in which I've been able to pick up of spirituality has greatly over exceeded the education I got in spirituality in Catholicism. Catholicism was a place for me to observe the deceptive ways in which we are taught about a higher practice of who we are, not a higher practice, a higher practice of who we are, but a higher expression of who we are. It greatly diminished what that was by introducing the idea of fear and fearing God. And to that, I will continue to speak out against it, because that religion, completely from my experience and from my knowledge of what I saw as a Catholic student in a Catholic school, and what I observed, what I knew in my soul, was that I was greatly being deceived and manipulated. I didn't have those words when I was little, but I had that feeling of, what? And then I was afraid when I would actually want to commune with the God of my relationship, when we would have to commune and it would feel good, I would question it, because it almost felt like I should feel a little bit fearsome, or that I was not worthy enough of communing with God myself, that I had to bring someone else into the conversation to be the conduit, the transformer. Well, dear souls, the sacred of today is that you and me are actually those transformers. We are the energetic grid that the message from a higher creator, whether it feels like it's in here, I know that it's within me, and I know it's within you. I just do this so we can kind of understand that we're pulling in knowledge from the universe that is within, that we can look out into the world and know exists all around. We are immersed in this universal energy that is source energy, God energy, nature. It is the universe. And because we are operating within and without this universe, we have access to all of the knowledge it provides, and it provides all of the knowledge that is, already available. It has already been done, and it is already repeating itself. We are an infinite vessel, an infinite channel of source energy, which means source's knowledge that we pull into our physical bodies and we then translate into our lives. And when we are an open source of God's energy and it is then translated into the world that we create, when more of us transformers come online and realize our power in that, that is how then we create a new earth. That's how we create a new reality for ourselves and for everyone around us, by being a perfect channel, not a perfect channel. You know what I mean? Because God's perfection isn't always perfect. So as our true, higher, imperfect selves, we are already perfect. And in that form and in that expression, we then go and express that energy, that imperfect yet perfect, beautiful energy into the world. That's pretty sacred. It's a pretty sacred job to show up every day just to simply be you, and to let go of all the cloaks and costumes we have used in our lives to unfortunately become something we're not, for the people who couldn't quite see our bright, bright transformer self. There are many that can't handle that light yet, and yet, and yet, there will be a time. There will be a time. It may not be your individual expression of light that they are needing, but someone on our team, on our transformer team, is going to be that. So when we come together and we exchange our knowledge and we exchange our experience and we share in ways that are the most vulnerable and share in the ways that we've been taught isn't quite appropriate. We don't share that stuff. That is the stuff that the transformers share, because that is the stuff that is made from experience, that is learned from experience, that is stuff that we have learned from our mistakes, but we know that there are no mistakes. There are simply lessons to be learned, and some of us had to learn some pretty challenging and pretty painful ones in order to go as deep as we could into that pain and understand it. And when we share that experience and what we have learned with others, they get to also learn. And that's when they wake up, because you have planted a seed that it's okay to be imperfect. It is okay to be messy. That is the part of us that is the beauty, that is the perfection. So today, sweet soul, this is all about you. This sacred message is all about you and what it really means to be a transformer. I'm going to give you some good spiritual knowledge. I'm going to give you some good logical knowledge where your mind can be like, oh, your human mind is so limited. It's so limited based on what you've learned in this lifetime. And actually, it holds all the memories of lifetimes. But many of us can't even get far enough into this lifetime to look to really understand what we have learned, because we want to shut that down. We want to shut down the sacred. We think it's going to be too painful to listen to it. And yet, when we listen to only the mind, it keeps us in a very stagnant, safe place, in our comfort zone of thinking, in our comfort zone of knowledge. And when we start to expand that knowledge and we start to expand what we know, we then start to expand how we practice. That starts to expand our results, what we reflect. Therefore, expansion of knowledge and expansion of wisdom means there has to be an expansion of energy. So what I'd like to do before I really get into the message for today is get us into a space of expansion, of being open to expansion. And as I say with everything that I typically do, what is yours to hear, you will hear very loudly, so to speak. You will hear it very clearly. So if there is something for you in this message in the next few minutes, you will be extremely lit up. Knowledge will come alive. That's what's happening when you have an aha. It's simply a remembrance of something that's already been inside of you. It just lights up, and all of a sudden you say, oh my gosh. And when that one thing lights up around wherever it's stored in your brain, it lights up everything around it. And all of a sudden you have new insights as we go. So pay attention and just acknowledge anything that lights up for you within during this message. If there is anything that you say, I don't know if I'm ready to go there, I don't know if I believe that, I don't know, then you drop it. You purge it right. Don't purge it. You drop it right there. Why I say not to purge it is because it's a seed. It's another seed of something that will be awoken and will be lit up here in what we call the future. In some now moment, all of a sudden, that seed will sprout along with any other seeds around it, and you'll start to nurture those ideas. Everything that I tell you, everything that I say, everything that I share, I don't tell you anything. Everything I share with you is shared out of a space of absolute love, absolute intention of truth. And as I am here with you, I am also growing and expanding as well. So what my truths of today will expand and grow as we go throughout these things. And when I was given this mission to bring these messages to you 12 weeks ago, it's actually the 12th week, I was extremely I was excited about it. I kind of got it. I didn't really know what the messages were going to be. I wasn't given the messages, quite frankly, until typically the day of. When I woke up, all of a sudden brushing my teeth and like, what am I going to do for Sunday sunrise? And all of a sudden my guides would start to give me the message. And it was usually a message for myself that I needed to hear at the moment or that I needed to actually do. And what I have found over these 12 weeks is the amount of knowledge that has grown in just bringing you these messages and then marinating on them and integrating them throughout the week. Holy cow. I'm not the same person in 3 months. I'm completely different than who I was when I started doing these. So I welcome you into this sacred moment, because I know if you stick with me, I'm going to continue to do these every Sunday, because quite frankly, they are quite sacred to me now. And I've seen the benefit of the growth of just sharing whatever is in this channel to share in that day. I like that kind of growth. It's easy for me. And growth for me in my life has actually been extremely hard and extremely painful. So being able to go through this amount of growth in 3 months simply by sharing whatever message it is and having the courage to do that, because sometimes they're a little bit, they go out of my comfort zone to speak about out loud in this world, because this world sometimes ain't nice to people who speak some things that are a little weird. And yet transformers are weird. They're supernatural. So I want to remind you of your supernatural nature, and I want to remind you of the fact that you have a choice in any given now moment to expand your knowledge, to expand everything about you. So with that, I would like to ask you real quickly, we're going to ground down into this message. So put your feet on the ground. Make sure you have water too. Hopefully you do. I didn't tell you that earlier. Okay, bringing your entire body into your present moment. Closing your outer eyes and simply just sinking into that chair that you're sitting in, and allowing my voice to soothe every cell in your body. Imagining that the tone of my voice, coming from a place of such deep, deep sacredness and just reverent love for all of nature. This voice is the voice of God, just channeled simply through an individual. This individual is no different than you. You are a divine channel, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Your life is a divine channel of everything that is you. So therefore there is nothing different in me that is in you. You are a divine channel of God as well. And simply allow my gift of voice to be the gift that delivers this message for you, so you don't have to do any work. You simply just tune into this voice, filled with so much love and so much admiration for you, for you are a co-creator of this message, and therefore you being here is the sacred. And in this space, allowing my voice to be the energy that reaches every single cell of your body, and allowing every cell of your body to tune up, tune in, perk up, to simply hear this message of appreciation for every part of your physical body. That is the outward expression of everything of your energetic body and your spiritual body. What a beautiful expression of soul that you are. And the more each of your cells listens and hears this tone, the tone of my voice, the tone of love, it remembers that your physical body is an expression of the health and the ease that is within. And that health and ease gets more and more abundant in every given moment that you expand into a higher expression of you. And you expand into that higher expression simply by allowing yourself to light up new parts of your energetic grid that have never been lit up. And those lighted parts hold information and wisdom from your future self and your past self and your current self, all operating at this very exact now moment. And that expansion of your higher self as it comes forth is the information that then goes to every cell of your body, that you are changing and that you are growing, that you are thriving. You are stepping into a higher self. Therefore, every cell in your body, every tissue, every blood cell, every single part of your body also lights up with its own intelligence of healing and health, optimal health. How beautiful it is to know that you can activate every cell in your body to a healthier and more expansive expression, just as you can for your energetic body, by feeding it the soulful food of nature, of the elements. That is how your energetic body comes alive, how it charges up. And you remember that from here on out. Every single time you're feeling low on energy, you simply know that every cell of your body is waiting for you to go outside, to see the elements, to experience the elements, to breathe them in, to feel them all around you. These elements are energies as well, and they have the highest of vibration because they are a direct and perfect creation of the one source that is the also the divine creation of you. So simply by immersing yourself in divine creation, you remind yourself and expand into that higher version of yourself that recognizes a oneness with the nature that is God. How beautiful. And that spiritual body, that soul body of yours, so deeply embedded within you, that unique expression of the God source. Therefore, you are a spark, a star, a sparkle of source energy. How beautiful. How beautiful to know that you are a divine spark. And in that spark lies all of the knowledge of the universe. And in any given moment, you can extract even more knowledge from that universe by simply asking the question and allowing the expansiveness of your soul to capture that universal energetic answer, the solution. And because you are a divine and open channel to your soul, you download all the information that you need in this very present moment to move forward with confidence, with clarity, and with so much trust in your higher self that you no longer question. You simply know that your sacred life is led by a sacred energy that is so much bigger and has such a bigger perception than you. And simply by just following its direction through the conversations with your soul, you are having a direct path, a direct route through this beautiful, beautiful, soulful GPS in your life. Your life is divine, sweet soul. You are a transformer of everything that is great. You are a transformer and a giver of everything that is the knowledge of universal wisdom. And today we tap into a little bit more of it in the hopes that it lights up something within you that then lights up all the information around that piece of knowledge, so that you leave here from this beautiful transmission in a place of higher intelligence, and in a place of higher expansion, and in a place of higher expression. Thank you, sweet soul, for being who you are, for being the divine one, for being the light that all of us have been waiting for your light transforms worlds and realities. I give thanks for your transformational power. Sweet soul, you are a transformer. And so it is. Whew. Yay, that was fun. Okay, I'm going to do something here that the old me would probably want to freak out if she saw happening, and that was bringing a PowerPoint presentation into this. However, the PowerPoint presentation is simply a visual tool to help us through. Some people learn through seeing. Actually, 87% of people learn knowledge through seeing it, which is why experience is always good, you know. And if you are on this transformer call and you are blind, there, however, whatever sensory, the physical sensory intelligence you use most, those, I can't offer you smell in here. However, I can in my immersions. One of the things that I do offer clients is an immersion into their transformer self. And that is when you then experience yourself. And we do that. We experience your soul. We bring your soul to the forefront of your existence. And you will then experience your soul in this custom immersion just for you in all the five senses. And then we also really activate and clear that sixth sense, that communication, that channel. That is the communication between your soul and yourself. And that soul is pulling in information from the universe. So it's probably a good idea that you know how to communicate with it, right? I know for me, I have done it both ways, where I don't communicate with it, and then I also have communicated with it. And quite frankly, I like the open communication, because it's a lot easier than figuring it all out myself. So I then now teach people to do that. And with an immersion, I will tell you what, you will be immersed in all of your senses into you. That's why they're called the you immersion. So the transformers, those are the people who are called to immersions. There are people who are called to be connectors of this circuitry of the new earth. So I'm going to use some different words in here, because I really want to delineate between the old world that we knew and this new world that we are creating. Transformers are creating it. The old world is the world that we have been living in physical form for thousands of years. The old world has been corrupted. The operating system of our leadership has unfortunately been corrupted with some manipulative spyware, some corruption spyware, and some slavery spyware. And they are holding many, they meaning the leaders of our country, of our countries, our governments, our pharmaceutical companies, our food and nutritional companies, majority of them, the 1% of the leaders of all of these different factions of life that we have held us hostage, held the old world hostage with their corrupted operating systems. Because of these operating systems being getting to the point where so many souls are trapped in living their full lives and learning the full lessons that they are here to learn, we are getting a different kind of education living in the old world than ultimately we are meant to have. And yet we do have to transcend through the limitations and quite frankly, the chains and confines of the old world in order to transform that operating system. We, the transformers, are the updaters of the energetic grids, the energetic operating systems of this old world, and we are then transforming it into a higher vibrational 5D, which we are going to be talking about, so you'll understand that a little bit more here in a few minutes. The circuitry, the grid work of the new Earth. We are going into a new update, into a new planetary update, and we are the ones that are hitting update, so to speak, on the keyboard of our souls. And we're doing that because we're like, we can't live in that old world anymore. We see it. We want no part of that. I'm not playing into that, into deception and manipulation. Nope, it's time for a new world, and there are 1% of us, the transformers of the world, who are ready to transform that 1%, shine light on them with our own knowledge, with our own light, and expand every single part of our 1% into 2%, into 3%, into 4%, into 5%, until this 1% has been dissolved and removed from our corrupted systems. And then this new global transformer group can update and bring the new Earth into existence. That is what we are here to do today. So if that sounds like a big, freaking big mission, it is one. And that's why this is a very, very special finale, so to speak, to this initial 12-week sunrise Sunday commitment that I have made. This is because this has been made very clear to me in these last 12 weeks. This is my learning. This is what is mine to share. This is what I've come to understand about myself, and I'm still getting very clear on it. And yet I know that I am a transformer. I know the passion that I feel to bring humanity into more humane and being parts of existence, so that being a human being is truly what we are here to be. And we do that by being the highest version of ourselves. That is all we have to do. That is all we have to do. Easier said than done, and yet pretty freaking cool that all we have to do is be ourselves in the highest expression and be brave and bold enough to bring that expression out into the world and to tap into those around us. That's what a grid or a transformer does, right? It's the thing that the energy passes through, so it can go all different directions. By being a transformer, sweet soul, you are a connector of infinite wisdom in the unique expression that makes you passionate. And by bringing that passionate wisdom out into the world, you then start to light up people all around you. And that is how the circuitry of New Earth starts to spread around this globe. Humanity starts to wake up, and we start to have more and more and more of our population wake up to the deception that we have been plugged into for so long. And this is the group that's going to help more and more people unplug from that deception and plug into the new circuitry of the New Earth, where they have the abundance and joy and beauty that is theirs already, and the money and the health and the lifestyle that they truly, truly desire. So what we're going to cover today, I'm going to go, this might be a little bit longer than the normal one, but I do believe that it is perfect for the finale. I am going to go through this, and I said I have Q&A down there, but I'm going to skip the Q&A today because I'm recording this. But I am going to do an activation of this circuitry at the end. So make sure that you stay to the end. So we're going to cover why now more than ever you're feeling called to transform yourself and your life. And quite frankly, from a higher perspective, you are being called to come into a higher version of yourself so that you can take your rightful position as a transformer of this New Earth circuitry. And we're going to talk about, oh man, my biggest fear is like drinking. And I just did exactly what Well, there you go. Have the fear, just happen. There's your lesson for today. Whatever you fear is probably going to happen. So it'd probably be better to just know that you're going to drink some water on a recording and it's going to go down and it's going to be graceful and beautiful. So otherwise, the fear comes when you dribble and probably have it all down the front of you. So we're also going to talk about the frequencies of biblical proportions that are flooding our planet at this time and why you are part of it. So again, we're going to hit some logical stuff, so some slides that you'll see. And then we're going to learn about a collective of humanity co-missioned to activate these biblical frequencies and what happens when they do. Who do you think that is? And then you're going to receive an energetic tune-up, and I did put it in there. And we're going to integrate these higher frequencies of this transmission. So we've got some fun ahead of us. Got some knowledge coming to you, and I'm also going to give you an experience of all of this so that you can embody it, and each cell of your body can wake up and understand who it is and how important it is to the evolution of you. And when you embody that into your physical body and your energetic body and your spiritual body, by the end of this transmission, sweet soul, you're going to be so different and so beautiful. And you're not that you aren't, but you're going to feel it. You're going to know it. So the galactic extension, this is interesting. I talk a lot about galactics. I want to get this out. Oh, there it goes. We're going to talk a little bit about ascension, and ascension is all ascension is the evolution of your soul. It is how the frequency that your soul comes in a lifetime, the frequency at which it leaves that particular lifetime. And remember, in a human lifetime, we have many lifetimes in there. So we are still in our physical lifetime. We are still ascending to different lifetimes in that. So if we stay stagnant and stay at a frequency in which we came into this planet in, our life is going to go, What does that mean? You don't want to see that on your, what is that, the EKG thing that shows your heart rate? You don't want to see that, right? You want to see bump, 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 In the idea of soul evolution, it's usually, you want it to look like burp, 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 because for every time you go up, you got to come down a little bit. You got to go through that down, the chaos a little bit that takes you down and takes you into the bowels of the evolution. And then you shoot up to another expression of evolution, you ascend into a higher expression, which then gives you different results that you are going to see in your outer world. So ascension is the spiritual process of growing up, so to speak. Galactic ascension is opening up to the fact, quite frankly, that our source of all is galactic in nature. Therefore, we come from the source. The galactic center of our universe is Andromeda, and we know through science that Andromeda shoots photon light through our sun into our planet, into us. So we are constantly being sent solar activation, solar knowledge from our galactic sun, which is the source of all. So, sweet soul, you're sitting here watching this UFO stuff, not wanting to be released, but yet there's many people in the world are like, just tell us about the aliens. What they're not wanting to say, what they are trying to hide, they meaning the governments. The US was supposed to give us a whole download of what they've been studying, and they gave us crap because there is a vested interest to keep quiet the fact that UFOs do exist, galactic beings do exist. We are a spark of the galactic source, which means we are the aliens in so many words, but we are sparked from the same sun of center of our galaxy, or center of our universe. Therefore, we are a galactic being. And we have seen through science that there are parts of our DNA that can't be explained. So remember that when you hear the word galactic, that is not some Star Warsy sci-fi movie. That is you. And we are living in a holographic universe where what we see is the expression of our connection with that galactic channel of information. Humanity is moving into another reality, into another dimension and a time in this new cycle. In this new ascension cycle, we have different cycles. History repeats itself. History repeats itself. The Bible is going to repeat itself. It's not going to be as literal as Jesus coming back. It's going to be as literal as you being the Christ consciousness in the expression of you bringing the same teachings to others that Jesus brought, which is you are a divine creature, you are sovereign, you are powerful, you have the ability to heal, you have the ability to manifest, you have the ability to create, and therefore that message is extremely, extremely threatening to those who don't want you to know that. And they have spent thousands of years to keep that knowledge quiet. And we read the Bible in a collective that says, I'm separate from who Jesus is, but I'm going to try to learn, I'm going to try to live as best as I can to him. But this world's a little bit different than it was when Jesus was. That's crap. The world was what it was in intelligence when Jesus was here. And it's in the same, probably actually a lesser intelligence even in this time. So therefore, your intelligence is needed, sweet soul. The 3D planet Earth entered into this new ascension cycle in 2008. We moved into our orbit, moved into a new galactic space where this galactic, we aligned with the galactic sun, the center of the universe, which is Andromeda. When we moved into this age of Aquarius, lined up with the galactic sun, we met that frequency in 2008. And since 2008, the frequency of our Earth has been rising because the higher a galactic frequency is much higher than the 3D frequency of our planet. So every human being, every being on this planet, sentient being, elemental being, animal being, human being, all of us are having to ascend into this higher frequency. So not only is that the soul's purpose is to ascend into higher states of being consciously, but now the galactic sun, our alignment into this galactic frequency, is forcing us to do that. So there's a lot in our collective who are in pain because their life is being called to change in some way, whether they have to get healthier, whether they have to look at relationships that haven't been working, whether they have to finally admit that the job just, no matter how much money they make, the job is not worth it. There's a lot of disruption that is happening in the moment because many of those processes that 3D humans operated in were unhealthy. And a higher frequency does not promote dis-ease, because dis-ease is at such a lower frequency. So whatever the dis-ease is in a life, it's going to be called forth. And if you are not conscious of this increased galactic frequency, into this frequency that we are moving into, which is a high, literally it can be measured with the Schumann resonance, and I share a lot of that on social media so that people can see the correlation between the meters that read the vibration of our earth and the behaviors and what we're seeing out in the world. They are cohesive. You can study them, and I study them, and I think it's fascinating. So as our Earth's frequency goes up because of where we are positioned in space in the moment, it is a prime opportunity for us to shed everything that no longer serves us so we can just be in this high frequency. And in that high frequency, it's as if you evolve up into a higher state of being, which then resonates with a higher state of being out in your physical. You will project out that higher state into your physical world, and that changes. But change is extremely, extremely scary for many, many people. Change is the thing that they avoid so that they can stay stagnant. And those of us who are transformers look at that and we're like, how do you do that? That's painful to stay the same way your entire life, and yet so much effort is made to keep things the same. And yet what we are being called to do on a soul level is to change, to transform. And those of us in the 1% who have said, what else can I change? I want to go towards that. I'm ready for the pain of it. I'm ready for the chaos. I'm ready to get through it. And we we just choose change. And that isn't always easy. But the more we do it, the easier it gets. And then we understand more and more and more how change actually evolves us, teaches us knowledge. It gives us experience that we get to share with others. That's the exciting times that we're in. That's what our transformer energy is here to create more of. So I want to talk a little bit about frequency when I talk about, when I talk about frequency. I want to make sure that you understand what we're saying here. Oh, no, go back. I was trying to move myself out of the way. I can't figure out how to move this stuff, and I keep doing it. So the frequency is, your soul frequency has a resonance, and that resonance, when you are matched with it, is a clear vision in that now moment of what is yours to do of service in that moment. We in the frequency of who we are, already embedded in our being, is how we are here to serve, what our purpose is in any given moment. And in that moment, when we are fully aligned, I keep looking at myself down here, when we are aligned with and resonating with our soul resonance, our soul frequency, every single moment is a moment of service to the outer world, to ourselves. We then also, in that soul frequency, have abundance and a lifestyle that actually fits exactly who we are and what we're here to be. We're not buying into other people's ideas of what a healthy lifestyle is. We are choosing the lifestyle that is for us, and because we're at a higher 5D frequency, a higher soul frequency, at that point, the lifestyle in which you live resonates accordingly with the frequency at which you reside in. Also, frequency is light. The higher the frequency, the more light, the more knowledge that comes in, that shines light on more knowledge within us, and also then that projects out. So we see more out here when we know more, and we know more simply by pulling in information consciously from our soul, which is then connected into the infinite knowledge base of the universe. So in the 3D form, that is, we were very attached to the physical reality. Outside here determined how healthy we were, but we didn't know that for a long time. We just thought the outside world had power and dominion over us, so we kept reacting to the outside world. Our intelligent quotient is taught to us in a way where the intelligence is, oh, you have to go to school to learn the wisdom that you need to have a successful life. And yet the wisdom that is taught is the wisdom to repeat that lifestyle. You go to school, you get a good job, you meet your partner, you get married, you have kids, you get the house, you get the cars, and you have the job. And then that's the American dream. Then that you're living life at that point. You're a stable, successful human being. The intelligence of the 3D world is only one-sided. So we've got a lot of lopsided 3D human beings going thinking they are the smartest things in the world, and yet they're missing the whole, complete, and opposite expression of intelligence, which we're going to talk about. The 4D part of you are multidimensional. So you've got your physical 3D body, but you also have your 4D energetic body, which is the energy body. It is your heart center. It is your emotional body. It is your emotional quotient, which is the other side of the intelligence. The higher the intelligence you have in emotional wellness determines how balanced you are in intellectual wisdom, and the two intelligence together work together to create a higher intelligence. So if you only study intellectual knowledge, but you don't feel it, or you don't practice it, and you don't put it into experience, this is nothing. Who cares? If you are a doctor and you have all of this knowledge, but you don't tap into this other intelligence that might tell you that maybe something from a higher power in the organization that you work in is giving you something that it challenges the intelligence that you've learned, or maybe you can have you're given a logical expression of this thing you're being asked to do, but the intelligence over here is saying, wow, as your true soul healer self, that doesn't sound right. That I have a couple questions. If you don't listen to that, I don't care how much knowledge you've gotten in medical school, you are not the doctor that shows me that you are actually high intelligently and of high intelligence. But if you are the doctor that has this intelligence and you hear something that challenges that, and over here says, I challenge that, you got to look deeper, and you do, and you find something that you then bring and you share, even though you might get in trouble, or even though you might get made fun of, you then are a transformer, because you've got intellectual knowledge and emotional knowledge, emotional intelligence, and those together create an intelligence that's quite more powerful than those who typically, in this day and age, in this now moment, than those who run the medical systems of our country, and at least in the United States and globally. That's the kind of knowledge we are looking for someone who operates in the world in at least their 3D and 4D versions of intelligence. Because when you have that, you are then a transformer, and you then combine those powers into the 3D, 4D, into a 5D expression, which then aligns you and integrates you with your soul expression, your soul frequency. And that is a level of expression that right now only 1% of our globe pretty much holds. And in this 5D integrated expression of self, at that point, you are co-creating with the universe on your life and building your lifestyle, and it'll be fully what is in service to all of humanity. It will also be a co-creation of a lifestyle for you that is exactly in alignment and integrated with who you are, and you will be co-creating knowledge, because the more knowledge you gain from your soul self, the more knowledge opens up, intelligence expands, it constantly expands, and you as a transformer take that knowledge and you expand that out into every single individual that you come in contact with. And that is how this new grid expands and comes active. You become a channel and you download your information. Just as you hit upload or upload on your computer and you get a whole new operating system, every single moment you have the opportunity to pull in a whole new operating system for yourself. The vertical, the now moment expression of you is your consciousness. Who you are in any given now moment is how integrated you are with the three known parts of you. Now let me tell you, there are actually 12 dimensional expressions of you. What we are going to experience in this physical form is only the 3D, 4D, and 5D. Once we get to 60, our 3D bodies no longer exist. And we go and we have another existence in another form, in another time and space. It is not a soul death at all, at all. It's simply the shedding of our bodies, and our soul goes on to its next adventure. But right here on this planet Earth, we are moving into where we can expand into our 5D frequency and activate that soul frequency here in our physical form. And this is when our ego frequency is outshined by our soul frequency, and that is what leads us forward every single day to develop and co-create these every now moment, what is in soulful alignment with ourselves. So we do have the past, we have this vertical expression, the now moment of us, and then we have the linear time. This is the cross, right? You see the cross in most, religions in some way. It is our vertical self, our multi-dimensional self in any given moment that is operating. And then we also have these other selves that are operating in the past and in the future. And if we are trying to contact and tune into these two, we are not tuned into the now present moment. Therefore, if we are simply integrated in every now moment in our 3D, 4D, 5D frequency, we are then ultimately operating in a 5D frequency, and the past bears no reverence on us, and neither does the future. But what we are doing in this now moment is creating a new reality for us, which will change the timeline of the future. So we've got the timeline, which is pretty much going to be the same kind of expression. And then we have the boop, 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 boop timeline, where every now moment gets better and better and better and better the more we operate in each present moment as our integrated 3, 4, and 5D self. So let's talk a little bit about the levels of frequency intelligence. This is the mechanics of the 5D intelligence. This is the transformers are laying the energetic intelligence of the new earth. That is what we are here to do. That is our 1%, to expand into 2, to make this grid bigger and bigger and bigger until it enfolds all of humanity in the entirety of our planet. And that is the intelligence of our grid, bringing this 5D intelligence. So what does this look like? A 3D intelligence looks like this, okay? We have our ego frequencies are in power. The ego frequencies are all the things that many humans live within. They're fearful, they live in dis-ease, depression, anxiety, overwhelm, they're judgy. I know, man, it's gonna be judgy to share that, so I'm not gonna share it, but I have had my share of judgment in life. They're closed-minded. They don't want to expand intelligence at all. They want to stay in that, this is all I know, this is what I know, this is what I know, and if you know more than me, then you're wrong, that I judge you, because I have to judge you in order to stay in my comfort zone. So I'm going to just say that if you come to me with higher intelligence stuff, I'm just going to tell you you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're crazy, or you got your head in the clouds, because if I don't want to change, I don't want to know anything, and I'm going to dispel everything that comes at me that is different from what I know. All right, that's closed-minded. Unholy, meaning you're completely disconnected from your sacredness, your sacred soul frequency. Codependence, unhealthy relationships, isolation, suppression, loneliness. All of these things are ego 3D intelligence. They are of a low intelligence because they are of a low frequency, right? So if any one of these things is pretty prevalent in your operating system, chances are you're feeling life constricting frequencies. You feel as though life is hard. You feel as though you just want to curl up in a fetal position and just be like, and I've been there. I've been where I've operated majority of my life in that 3D intelligence. And that stuff is really, really hard. It is really, really hard. And then there's the sacred 5D intelligence. This is where your multidimensional soul frequency exists. This is when you are feeling courage, you know what, this whole life, that's getting old. I have the courage to change. And you start being bold and optimistic, and you turn into healthier thoughts. You are inspired to make some decisions. You are motivated because you have a reverence for life again. You have a reverence for your soul. You have a reverence for your growth. So therefore, that leads to creative ideas. You're starting to connect in. You're starting to say yes to your multidimensional frequencies. You're starting to say yes to your ascension process, which means you're simply saying yes to your soul desires and letting go of those egoic desires that you have to let your soul desires go to stay in that zone of comfort. When you are experiencing love and bliss and you are sovereign and powerful, you are connected. You contact in with the beings and the guides that are with you, your ancestors, your elders. Abundance flows, community, you start to resonate and find a whole new uh, network of people, and you start to understand how much more is out there than you even knew. That's when life expansive frequencies start to explode who you are, not in an overwhelming way, but in a way where you're like, oh, you blow your own mind because you're like, man, I had no idea this existed. And when you find stuff that you didn't know existed in the 3D frequencies, the amount of love and excitement and bliss that then it just explodes out of your heart is the feeling that becomes the addiction, so to speak. It's the opposite side of the addiction. It's not going to find love in all the, the 3D spaces anymore. It's like, what more can I learn about myself that I didn't know, and how exciting that is. That is what the 5D frequency is. So how do we cultivate this kind of intelligence? We expand the knowledge you know into the unknown, exactly what I was just talking about. You learn the secret mysteries of life. We have never been taught in the intellectual world, because the intellectual world of educational systems do not support you knowing the mysteries. Because if you know the mysteries, then you don't need the particular system of education that we have. When you know the mysteries, education, your life becomes your education. You're automatically led to study the very things that you need for your soul to exist in its highest expression here in this 3D world, in this physical world. So what you are led to study becomes your education. Conscious life experience is how we find new kinds of education. And what does it, or I'm sorry, new kinds of intelligence, expansive intelligence. What does it mean to be conscious? It means to be in the present moment and simply just here. Blending these higher understandings of the seen and unseen world into our existence is how we grow our intelligence. Because our intelligence in the 3D world tells us it's just the physical stuff that we see. That's life. And the transformers are like, oh, no, 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 no. What you see is a result of the unseen. And we work first in the unseen, in the higher frequencies, to then create the physical reality that we can actually touch, see, smell, hear in the 3D physical world. Don't let anyone tell you that, oh, just because what your life looks like, they know anything. That's not at all what you do in your life. If you disrupt your entire physical life because of a higher intelligence that gives you the knowing that there is a whole different life to be created, and you work towards that life in the highest of light, in the highest of knowledge, in the highest of frequency, meaning you do it in a way that doesn't necessarily hurt people, you're then moving into a much, much higher realm of existence that does exist, but many people don't know about it because no one's been taught this stuff in our mainstream lives. When you blend all of your intelligence together and you start to share it, You will see how you transform worlds. You will see how people come together to listen to what you have learned through experience and through your own education. And those are the words, those are the truths that people will hear, and seeds will be planted in every given moment. And when seeds are planted, we know that many, many, many pop up. And what an amazing impact you can have by simply sharing your experience in a beautiful and conscious way to help others grow, to help others connect dots from the information that you have that they don't. Do you see how you can fill in some dots? And I know you've been trying and you have tried. But sometimes when we force our knowledge on others, it's not going to be listened to. The best way that we can give of our knowledge is by being it and by creating our worlds, by creating our high intellectual life, because it includes all of it. And when people see what you are doing, that is when they then come in and say, I want more of that. How did you do it? Now they're asking for your knowledge. That's the beauty in how this works. We're always willing to give and be of service. And yet sometimes we have to wait to be asked. I don't know what that as a C is. I don't know where that I was going with that. Something got changed. So excuse my imperfection, but if you haven't gotten this yet, you are part of this galactic ascension process. Every soul that is breathing on this planet right now is part of this ascension process. And think of all the things that have a soul. So human, not human, animal, plant, element, each thing that has a consciousness is part of this ascension process, and it is to raise the frequency of itself in order to make a collective expansion in energetics. If you feel the connection with service rather than competition, you don't want to go out and fight your competition. You want to go out and serve and be of service. You're part of this if you are ready to ascend into higher states of consciousness and step into your unique mission. Your unique mission is just to be you. Isn't that the coolest thing? So all of this talk and of sharing is also an invitation, because I also understand that sharing our personal experience in a world that hasn't really created space for that yet can be difficult. Being vulnerable and being raw with ourselves as we are, coming out, so to speak, as we are really starting to shed all of the versions of ourselves that people have in our circles have come to know. And when we start to change and transform, many of those people will say, what are you doing? That's not who you are. And where are you going? What do you think you're doing? They won't understand. And so to then go back to these same people and say, well, I'm actually on an ascension process and I'm bringing my soul to the surface. And by doing so, I have to shed some things that might look a little scary for me to shed on the outside world. But just know that it's for my highest and best good. You're going to get people that say, oh my gosh, she's lost her mind. Here's his midlife crisis or whatever it is. And there is the expressions of those things. And there's also the opposite expression of those things when people finally wake up and say, you know what, I want to live my life. I want to finally get to the life that I know that I'm here to live. And first, that takes some understanding of who you are and what you want. You are invited to join a collective of souls that are coming to share their ascension process. I want you to come into the U Collective, which is just starting, and it's a group that is of the 1% of us who are know for sure that we are here to transform this earth in some way. Some of us kind of have an idea, some of us have no idea, and some of us know exactly what we're doing. I am in the middle. I kind of know I'm here doing this, but I don't really know. But I want to continue to know more, and I want to continue to learn from those who also resonate with this conversation. because I will tell you, sweet soul, that you know something that I don't. And when we get together, we collaborate, we share our stories, we share our experiences, we then teach also a new way, a new way of navigating things. The U Collective is all about you. You come in and you share, you leave a video, you share something that inspired you, you share a creative project you have and how it's moving you. And we start to really take a look at the choices that we make to and share the lessons learned. And we can also know that if you're a transformer, you've probably dipped into a lot of different mysteries. Many of us have been to mystery schools, into behavioral education. We've been into all kinds of certifications in massage and crystals and divination and all different healing modalities. So you are welcome to come in and teach what you know in a healing modality. You may not see yourself as an expert, but you still know something. If you've studied anything, you know something more than most. And that is the knowledge that you bring and you practice. That's what the U Collective is about. What I am bringing to you in the U Collective is being a facilitator of conversations. I will bring these Sunday sunrises in here every single Sunday. I will also bring my knowledge of what I know about frequency and energies and the Schumann resonance. And we will all collaborate around this conversation of increasing our frequencies to ascend into higher states of being. I invite you to come into the U Collective and share your light. Let's commune, let's assemble so that we can be a beacon of light. And our beacon is part of the grid work of this transformational grid work that's being laid for the 5D. You are part of that. You are part of the one space that needs to be lit up, that has your soul's expression, its name on there. You are being called to light up a part of this grid. So in the U Collective, you'll learn the knowledge of your galactic team by communing with others on the journey to becoming a high-functioning, intelligent being. We're going to really nurture that other side of the intelligence. We're going to expand your intelligence by connecting the dots between what you know and what your team can share with you. So what does team mean to you? It can mean a whole bunch of different things. And yes, it's all of that. You can commune with a community that speaks your language. This language of ascension isn't talked about out in the world too much. I have found a beautiful community online that I've been able to connect with and to learn more about the ascension process. And yet we are all still, this is the first time we've ever been through this process collectively. So therefore we are actually, we are the trailblazers. We are the pioneers of this information and bringing it to the collective. And we speak your language. We see you, we hear you. If you're a transformer, you've gone your entire life in the 3D world not being seen and heard and not really understanding your worth because everybody not really, you weren't recognized for your worth and your value. But in this collective, you are, because the value you bring is literally creating a whole new world for our planet. That's pretty valuable. So you are welcome here. You can join the U Collective at patreon.com, uquantum collective/uquantum collective. If it's not for you, I would love to invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can at least continue to get these Sunrise Sunday messages. I will be doing these openly and for free. And then during the week in the U Collective, we will really dive deeply into the energies and the frequencies from my perspective in the U Collective. And then you bring your perspective and we all learn and collaborate and co-create a new existence together. That sounds really exciting to me. Okay. So we've covered a lot in today's transmission, and I want to anchor in this new intelligence grid work. Energetically, by doing it together, we activate it, we bring our consciousnesses together where two or more are gathered, energies expand, multiply, and overflow into into our existence. And that's a pretty exciting thing to be able to have the power to do. And since we have the power to be able to collectively create a new existence on earth, to collectively create a whole new reality, that's pretty powerful. We're gonna activate that now and assess and bring our power, bring the power of our 1% to the planet. And it's not in the form of money, it's in the form of energy, which is the same as money. So for the 1% over here that knows how to use the power of money to affect the energies of the world, we on this side, I hate the whole side thing, but it's the opposite expression is what I'm saying. Us in the opposite expression as transformers of this new energy, we are going to give of our energy, our monetary energy, which for us is our light frequencies, and we are going to bring that into the collective. So if you would just close your outer eyes and again tune into the voice, the tone of my voice, reaching every cell of your body, reaching every part of your energetic field, knowing that everything that is said and everything in the tone that is delivered in all ways into your field is sent from the highest of love, from the highest of perspective, from the source. We give great thanks for this time together today, for the expansion of knowledge and the expansion of wisdom and the expansion of this message that was created from this message is so gratefully accepted and embodied. And in the next few days, we will continue to download even more as this message lit up one area of your hidden knowledge, and all the areas around that will start to light up, and they will come in the form of downloads where new ideas will be sparked, new expressive, exciting ideas will come. Ideas of how you can change and transform based on the knowledge from this message. And that part of you that has been hidden for so long, the part of you that identifies with this idea of being a transformer of the new earth, of being an energetic, a valuable piece of the energetic grid that creates the new earth, that starts to wake up more and more and more, and the power of that starts to flow into your physical body, into your physical being, into your physical mind and heart, into your physical nature. From this energetic space, this expansive energetic space, your mind expands into all the ways that you can transform this world, into all the ways that you bring value, and how lucky we are and how blessed we are to co-create this existence and co-create this version of you by expanding our knowledge even more and sharing and collaborating this knowledge. As I said, where two or more are gathered, there I am. And the great I am is the source of all existence. And in the great I am resides a unique expression that is you. Therefore, you bring that I am presence wherever you go. And when you are tuned in and tapped into that beautiful expression of the I am presence, you are soul. You are of that frequency. You are a giver of energy that is so beautiful and so divine that it blesses everyone that comes in contact with you. And they then express in a different, higher perspective in that moment. What a beautiful power that you have by simply being you, sweet soul. I give great, great thanks for us being here together. I give great thanks for this sacred morning. I give great thanks for the light and the breeze that has been hitting me this entire time. For the elementals have been present here. All of our ancestors and light beings of benevolent, high vibrational light have been present. And we give great thanks for each of the unseen presences and consciousnesses that have been here co-creating this beautiful transmission as well. I give great thanks for all the souls and all of the energy involved, and for my little canine dog energy that has been laying so quietly here right next to me. I give such great thanks for her because she is one of the most soulful expressions of God that I've ever had in my life. And she's been here holding space for us, and I give great thanks for her. Thank you all for being here. Please, if you love this transmission, please share it on Facebook. Um, we just need to get the word out to all of the hidden transformers around the world that they are being called and activated to anchor in this new intelligence in the grid work of planet Earth. Mwah. Okay. Can't turn it off.